Alright guys, how's it going? Let me introduce you to something that I've made, and it's called the Animation Jumper. It's available for free. I'll put the link in the description down below. You're more than welcome to check it out. If you want to give a donation, I'll happily accept it. Now it's essentially 3 add-ons wrapped into one, and the reason I made it is because I miss a workflow from another software application. So let me give you the grand tour and we'll just quickly take a look. Now let's say for example you have nothing selected in the scene. If you double hit enter, yeah that's double hit, it'll bring up the Goto frame option. So we can quickly jump between frames, so we can maybe go to something like a frame 150 and it will automatically move to frame 150. Now you might notice that this toggle is enabled. If we take this off, it means we can move the timeline without actually moving it. So let's say we just want to go to frame 100 without moving the timeline, we can type in 100 and hit go to. And that's one of the basic functionalities. Now on the left here we can jump to the first and end keyframe. We can also move up and down, left and right of keyframes. Nice and easy. So if you want to quickly go to a keyframe, what you can do is when you enter it, just type in your keyframe and just hit enter twice and it'll quickly go to the keyframe. So you don't necessarily need to use this go to keyframe button. As soon as you hit enter, it'll go to the keyframe. You can also just click here and it'll essentially cancel it. But let's look at the main attraction, and this is the reason that I actually made the add-on. Let's select an object. Now you can have multiple objects selected, but we'll select the cube for example. We'll double hit enter and this will bring up the quick keyframe menu. Now what I'll do is I'll enable the timeline so I can scroll up and down, and let's say I want to create a keyframe here, 117, not a problem, not a problem, not a problem. Now this will create a keyframe on location, rotation and scale. So maybe you just want to set a keyframe on one variable, that'll pretty much do the job. And if you want to delete a keyframe, the delete keyframe command is there for you as well. Now the reason I have the toggle on the timeline is, let's say for example you want to position this box on frame 5, you can quickly do this by creating a keyframe. You can then go to 15, create a keyframe, 20, etc, etc. So maybe you just want to set a keyframe every 100 keyframes, this will work perfect. So I would like to go over some of these options. Now we can always go to a keyframe at any point, so if you want to go to frame 156, you can quickly just hit the go to keyframe. And you're probably thinking, this is a lot of icons here, and you're actually right, but let me show you one of the advantages. I'm on a frame 156, I hit play in the timeline, and if I press this back button, I'll go back to frame 156. So that's great for playing your animation and come back to the original frame that you started on. Now just to give you an example, when we press play and we go to the forward or backwards key, you'll notice that it continually plays, and that's great if you're reviewing an animation and you're checking out for slight errors. But what if you just want to go back to the keyframe? Well, this is where this comes in handy, and this is this kind of icon here. So this will actually go back and it will stop the keyframe on the last keyframe selected. Of course you can jump forward, or what you can do here is you can just use the native one and it will continue playing. So it's great if you just want to loop the animation and then go stop, go back to the last keyframe. Now this icon here will play the animation, but it won't update the timeline. And there is a reason for that, and it's personally for me. It's just in case you don't want to update the timeline and you still want to create a keyframe on 152. But really, I love the fact that you can actually just play the timeline and go back to the original keyframe. So the last and final option is deleting a keyframe. So with the object selected, if you double hit backspace, it'll bring up the delete key options, and it'll pretty much work like every other feature. So let's jump to the next keyframe, let's hit delete, let's jump to the next keyframe, hit delete. This will delete on the location, this will delete on the rotation and scale. And if you would like to clear all of the animation, this is what the clear all button will do. And I'll ask you, do you want to remove the animation? Yes I do. So let's just quickly wrap this up. I'm on frame 82, I want to quickly create a keyframe, just hit enter 3 times like this. And it'll automatically create a keyframe for you. And that's why it's called the animation jump. Now to be honest, I completely made this tool for me. Some people might just go, why don't you just use auto key? But if you animate a lot, you probably already know the answer. Do me a favour guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, follow me on Twitter, support me on Gumroad, you know what to do. Take care.